Hello again. Once more, welcome back to Leopard Street. Welcome back to the cellar. A cellar where for once things have actually progressed and very nearly gone to plan. I've got the station throat in. I've got some extra points in. It's powered up and working. Let's have a look. This is Leopard Street. For once, it nearly works. Nearly. We'll come on to that. It mostly works. The able assistance of Bucky the Loud Engine. Stick around. Let's have a look. Yeah, this is Smudge. Say hello. Yeah, claw out my leg. Say hello. Yeah, what am I going to do? Smudge is not allowed in the cellar. Where you gone? You're down there now. You're not coming up. You're not coming up on the desk. There's too much stuff. New. Yeah, she's not allowed in the cellar, which is why she's extremely pleased with herself currently. The fact she's managed to open the door and get down here. Yes. Why don't we either go back upstairs or lie down somewhere? Yeah, she'll find a bit down there that way. Right, here we are. A couple of hours later. Anyway, never mind. This is now all wired in. I've got all the little jumper leads in. I think it's wired correctly. The only solution now is testing it. So this is now going to go back onto here. It then needs the power-up cables doing, and it needs the point actuator rods cutting, which I'll be doing before I do anything else, because they just get in the way. And it's a bit of wire sticking up. You don't want to lean over it and poke your eye out. So let's get this back in place, or at least let's try to. Yeah, a couple of clips out of the way. Now this again is where I hit the slight problem that this is a bit bigger than it's meant to be. I need to lift it over. Can't lift it up and drop it down because the ceiling's too low. So it has to go over on an angle. It needs to slot in at one end, and then I can slot it in at the other. When this was designed, the idea was that board wouldn't be there if this board was coming here. Take that board out completely, not just slide it a bit. I should really have made it slide a bit further. Anyway, let's see how well this goes. So grab that. Slide around here. I'm probably going to have various bits of trouble with this, with things catching and getting in the way. But we shall see. So get under here. I can hold that. Slots into there, and it drops down that way, and then slides back this way. He's lifting up a bit at that end. Right. Next job is these little bits of wire, which is going to be down there. I'm going to get this done. I'll be back in a mo. Okay. Board is back in. Board is powered up. Board has had software reloaded onto it because I've loaded the software onto the wrong board. All of those things, I guess. I've done some basic electrical testing. The continuity is where it should be. I've told one point, this one over here, to move. The servo is moving and I can hear a relay clicking. I'm taking that as progress. I have got feedback. There's no block sensors, but at startup it should read all of its inputs, and it's got 16 inputs on this board, and it should report those back. And it'll report them all as inactive because it's not connected to anything. It's reporting 8 of them, not 16. So I suspect the second PCF 8575 might not be operational. I'll find out later when I come to play with the other points. To be honest, if that channel doesn't work immediately, all it's going to do is mean these new points won't work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at setting this point up. So if we move over here, I might angle you down a little bit. Just let me zoom in. It won't. I should be back in a mo. Okay, we are now zoomed in a little. I just need to do the obligatory move a stool that had a cat sitting on it not that long ago, but never mind. So that point is currently reporting closed, which is the correct direction. So I'm going to tell it throw, and it moves, but it only moves a very little bit. So why is that? Well, what we're going to come over here. I'm going to mount you down here. I'm going to, yeah, this is a little bit, it's a bit awkward, but it's easier than setting all the screen recording stuff up. So this here is the software in the Arduino package for this here. Now, this block here, I'm going to go through all the software at some point. This basically says I have 11 servos. Now I don't. What I've got is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've then got 7 and 8, which don't exist. But that means all of that is on one relay board. All of this is on the other. So, yeah, 7, 8, and I've got 9, 10, and 11. So, as far as the software is concerned, I've got 11 servos. When I wrote this, it didn't occur to me I might have a range that doesn't work, but never mind. The next bit just sets up 16 servo objects. And we come down here, we go past a whole load of other nonsense. There's all sorts of little bits and pieces. And here we come to where we set the servos up. Now this bit here goes through every single servo and tells it what I want to do. So it says on start move, well there's a handler that does that. This is a software routine. Stop move handler is another one. What these do is these are adjusting the throwback, the feedback sensors. So when it starts moving, it sets them both to false. And when it stops moving, it sets the appropriate one to clear. This is so JMRI, which, remember, these are virtual sensors. They only exist in software. Thinks there are real ones. Set mode, mode T constant. This is a time constant. So what I'm going to do, this is set up, the default is I think 1 second. And it is a time constant. So whatever distance I want the servo to move, it is going to take 1 second to do it. I have an angular velocity constant as well, which I'm not using here. So, and then I set some defaults up. So the minimum angle, -5, midpoint 0, +5. That's what the servo is currently moving. We set an address, which is the servo's number +1. So it's C, arrays start at 0. So point 0, I want it to be called point 1. There we go. And now we come down here into the actual point. And this is the point we're looking at here, is this top one. Servo 0, which is that point. Now at the moment, if I bring you back down here, I can go into MQTT Explorer. And this here is saying turn out L1. And this is border L. That is turn out 1. It is thrown. So that is in its thrown position. And we look over here, angle down a bit and zoom in again. And yeah, it's not really thrown. That's still closed. So if I set that back to closed, publish that, you can see it moves a little bit. Now, that I'm happy with. It's up against the rail. It's not up against it too hard. So go back to thrown. So that means the closed position I'm fine with. That I'm not. That needs to move over a little bit further. So what I need to do, and this is coming here. So this first one here is the, sorry about that. I will go back to normal zoom so you can see it. That first number is the closed position. That is the thrown position. So it's not moved far enough. So what I'm going to do is tell it to go 15 degrees. And we come back over here. Now this process, as you can probably gather, is a little bit tedious. Because what I now need to do and just make a slight modification on the software so it talks to board L remotely. And yeah, these are set up so I can control this via. I can update the software over Wi-Fi. Now, when I did this for Dingleberry, my little Engage layout, I actually had a little module. It's about yay big, and it's buttons on it. I had a screen connected to the thing, and I had the software so I could adjust it using the buttons and say, store this value. And it made it was a lot easier than what I'm doing now. The slight drawback to it was it's quite a bit of code for no real purpose. It gets used once, so that is now right. Check that. That is that. So let's do closed again. So closed is going over there. Right. Go back to throne. I've got something the wrong way around. I know exactly what I've got the wrong way around, and it's fairly straightforward to fix. Right. Come back in here. Set invert mode. What that means is the point is working backwards. So I need to make that one 15, make that one 5. Set invert mode. When I can tell the point to go to a specific location, or what I actually do is select throw or close, or go to the midpoint. And invert mode, so normally that is the closed position, that is the thrown position. Sometimes, however, the servo's mounted the other way around. That's what invert mode does. So, yeah. And then to upload it, I literally go upload. It goes away, it recalculates that, and it will re-upload it, and we will see. And I have to do this somewhat tedious process for each point, and it's trial and error. I'm sort of judging how far I want this to go, and it'll do it. So we'll see this. It's uploading now. 10%, 20%, 25, 30, yeah. It's beautiful over Wi-Fi. When I was doing this with Dingleberry, the reason I gave it a little board was it was talking to initially to a Pi Pico and then to an Arduino. So that's moved over a little bit further now. And they needed a physical connection to them. They didn't have Wi-Fi, so it was a bit of a pain. So there we go. Right, let's check closed works again. So closed is back where I want it to be. Thrown is the one I'm adjusting. That's better, but it's not perfect. So 15 isn't enough. So I'm going to go in and tell it to do 25. And we upload that again. Now, the Arduinos have EEPROM. This is electronically erasable, programmable, reader-only memory. Don't have very much. It's only 1K. What I actually did in the end, I modified the board so I had a separate little 1K EEPROM chip fitted to it. I did think about bringing that over to here, and all that does is hold settings like the minimum, maximum, and midpoint for points, for example, and its speed and its operating mode and all that sort of stuff. Oh, now you see that's gone over now. Now, has that gone over enough? Yeah, probably. Now, the way to test this is a coach. Because what I'm going to do is roll the coach through that point and see whether it goes where I want it to or whether it derails. That seems pretty smooth. Drop that the other way. I've got one more test to do as well with this. It's about that way. I can hear the relay clicking. So what I need to do, let's go back to normal zoom. So yeah, I was using an EEPROM. Where have I put my multimeter? It's here. It's right in front of me. To store settings. And the idea there was, if necessary, I could pull that chip out of the board and program it separately and then put it back in. So we'll see. Right, layout is not powered up. So at the moment, the frog is connected correctly to that. So if I now throw that point, it should no longer be connected to that. And it isn't. Right. That's that point set up. it now works. I've not loaded it into JMRI. Frankly, that's a job for another day. This is Saturday now. So that's that one. What I'm going to do now is I'm very quickly, while we're here, I'm going to have a little look at point number 2. So let's have a little look. If I go L2 and I tell that one L2, tell L2 to close. Now that's not what it should do. What it should be doing is moving slowly, and for some reason it's not. So look at that. Oop, that moved slowly. Closed. Okay, now I think it's moving. I'll have a little look underneath at the servo. Yeah, the servo's moving. So these blades are moving. They're just not moving very much. Let's have a little look again. See if they look here. Right, now, so I need to play with this. So closed is straight ahead, which is we go straight that way or we go straight that way. Because this is what we're going to move here. So closed appears to be all right. Thrown doesn't appear to do anything. So what I'm going to do is go into software setting again. I'm going to say I want the thrown to move a little bit, and we'll see if it does. But yeah, it's a tedious process. I could put a little interface on this thing. However, I've only actually got to do this once. Now, if you use something like the Megapoints controller boards, you get little buttons to like make it go one way or the other, and then a button to say, "Yep, that I'm happy with that. Save that." And that's how you go. It's a simple interface, but it's software. It's software. Things can go wrong with software. So yeah, that's uploaded. So see what happens here. Now the other pointer's just moved again. That will happen every time it starts. So I'll do this here. L2 closed. Now you see they're starting to move now. So if we go thrown, moving a little bit. Closed again. Yeah, so I need to make that move a little bit further. So again, I'll go 25. I'm not, incidentally, going to be going through all of this on camera. I'm just setting up the first two, which is a point and a double slip. Point was number 1. Number 2 is the first half of a double slip. I'm then going to check if the relay for that's changing correctly, because obviously double slips. Let's zoom back out. That tie bar controls the frog at this end and vice versa. So zoom in again and we'll see if this does what I want it to do. Now the idea is I want this to work, but I want the point blades to only just be making contact, because that way they're not under any load. So put that back to thrown, see what that does. Right, thrown is tight that way. Closed is back the other way. So if I turn that to that, that to that, and upload again. Excuse me. And this is trial and error. Yeah, it's Leopard Street all over, really. Trial and error. We make a lot of mistakes. Mistakes are good. You learn from mistakes. That's the key bit. So this is going to go in. Like I said, I've never set a double slip up before with point motors. And the only other time I've had a double slip, it was one I made myself. And it was activated via little wire push rods with switches attached, because I never really got it fully installed. That's uploaded. See what that's going to do. Right. So that's showing a little bit better. So again, if I tell that throw, yeah, throw. I've slackened off the amount of movement there, but I think I can probably slacken that a little bit more. So we'll take that to that, and I will take the other one up a little bit more. Go with that. So yeah, bit of a tedious process. However, with just this point and this double slip, the layout becomes a little bit more operable. So I'm going to finish this off. This is Saturday. I'm going to finish getting these working. I'm just going to finish this one for now. I'll shut the video down. I will be back for yourselves shortly, because I'll be doing the Sunday part of this, which will also be going out as part of this video on Tuesday. Let's see how's this going to go. So that's there, and again we'll have a little look. Yeah, so we'll see that. So closed. That looks reasonable. So my coach can come down here, and it's that hitting something. That may just be the coach's wheels. That's there, right? And if I tell that thrown, goes back the other way. We roll through the middle, and yeah, we get a little bit of a derailment because the other set of points isn't set for straight ahead. So again, we get the multimeter, and again we test the frog. Now, obviously the frog I'm checking is not the one the coach has just rolled through. It is this one, and we are set to roll straight, so that should connect to there or there. That rail. Yes, that's correct, because it should be connected to this rail here, which it is. And then if I do that the other way, close it again, we should set for straight ahead running, so that frog should now be connected to that rail, which it is. So, yeah, that's how I calibrate the points. It takes a little bit of doing. It's not a particularly quick process. I'm going to get the rest of these done, and then we shall return. I'll see you shortly. Okay, so here we are. This is now back at the layout. Now, as I said, these 3 points here aren't functioning correctly, but as you can see, they're not connected to anything, so I can't really do a lot with them anyway. That's a problem for another day to sort out. They are set as straight through running, and I know with servos not powered, straight through running works. So, waiting at the entrance here, we have Bucky the Loud Engine, who I'm going to bring up to the signal. Just as a little starter for 10. So we'll drop down there. And the first thing we're going to do is run up here. I'm just going to run backwards and forwards and test. I'm not going to bother talking about it. I'll let you listen to the train doing the talking, so to speak. So you ready, Bucky? Sounds good to me. Now, for everyone's sanity, this is at about 5 times normal speed. I'm moving Bucky about very slowly while I'm testing all of this, and I'm changing the points using MQTT Explorer, which is a little bit convoluted. A little whistle there. So yeah, so the idea here was just roll backwards and forwards. I wanted to go over all the points in all the directions. The downside is that one right at the front, near where I'm standing, where obviously there isn't a bit of track at the thing's heel, so yeah, can't really run on that one yet. Anyway, I'll leave you watching Bucky doing Bucky things, and I'll be back in a minute. And with that, we have a demonstration completed. So that is the Leopard Street Station Throat. Yes, there's a bit more work to do over here, finding out exactly what's going on with these 3 points. Like I say, that's going to be later this week. This is Sunday. I'm probably going to flip this board onto its back again Monday just to have a look at that. See if I can get to the bottom of that one. I'm tempted while I'm at it, if we just come over here a little bit. So the camera lead is, of course, tangled on things because of course it is. I mean, of course it is. It's always going to be. Now, if we zoom in a little bit, what I'm tempted to do while I've got the board set, I'm going to put a stub of track here. The problem with it is I want a stub of track here, but it goes over a board join. So ideally what I want to do is put this track in. It'll be a stub connected to this point. It really only needs to be a stub to about there, though, just because of the length of the points. So what I might do is just literally put a short length into there. That can have feeds, and then when the board is on its back, I can connect it up to that. This one also needs a stub, but obviously that's going to go off onto the next board. That's not a huge problem to do. Yeah, sorry for the wobbly there. I might leave it for now, though. I'll see how I feel. But that's the station throat. Yeah, it's been a little bit of work getting there. As the song says, it's been a long way getting from there to here. Internet cookie, if you remember what that was the theme to. So I've got that to do. What I'm then going to do, once I've got these other points working, I'm going to put the rest of the platform tracks back in, which will sort of give me this way, down around a bit. It'll mean clearing that mess, but it'll mean that board there. Not brilliant, but I can run trains on it. I can then drive trains in and out. I've got the station. I can bring trains in. I can shunt coaches out. I can release locomotives, yada, yada. So that's it for this one. The next one is probably going to be starting to look at the turntable again. To do the platform roads properly, I need to make the uncoupling system I've got work. The coaches aren't yet equipped with KD coupling, so while I can build it and test it using coal wagons, I can't operationally use it, if that makes sense. But because it's under the track, it's got to go in first, as have the various LED sensors I need to fit. Okay, not a huge problem. I can do that. However, getting the loco depot working, which is this bit down here towards where the turntable is, get the turntable powered up, get these 2 tracks in, work out where the coal stage and all that stuff's going, coal stage, water tower, signal box, yada yada. That adds functionality to the layout. So I think the turntable is coming next. That needs some sensors. That also needs some uncouplers. However, I can just put this track in. The uncoupler will be on this one. There is going to be a coaling stage. It is going to be on this track, a little bit further up. So I want something I can uncouple coal wagons in. I can just shunt them in, uncouple it. And a sensor so I can do something with locos. Potentially, I don't know. I might just put that in. But this track is going to run straight to over there. Yes, it will probably have sensors. It's not going to be a block sensor. It's going to be position sensors. There might be a block sensor as well at some point. I want the ability to say, I want to run a train from wherever it is over here and say, look, as an automated thing, take it from the end of platform 3, bring it back all the way up there, bring it back down here, shove it down here to about there, and then stop. And then I'll manually turn it and get it ready and whatever. And likewise, something that can say, take a locomotive from the coaling stage, bring it forwards, yada yada, bring it down onto here and stop. And then it can be manually brought back to couple up. So I'm going to need some other sensors. There's bits I need to play with. Some of it is going to be handled via the time-honoured tradition of laying track, but not laying it very well. So, like, instead of glue the whole length underneath, I mean, there may not even need to be glue, but if it's going to the turntable, there probably will be. But just a dob or two of glue. Maybe a soldered sleeper to keep a curve correct. But that's that. Anyway, that's been this weekend. I hope you enjoyed your weekend. This shall be going out Tuesday. Progress. The next video is likely to be just a train running video. I hope I've got the other bits done. If I have, I'll get the tracks connected. And we'll just run some trains. If not, I'll have this part of the station done, and we'll pretend that bit doesn't exist. And we'll run some trains. I can show the operations in and out. Yeah, I mean, all the coupling and uncoupling's manual. Well, they're tension locks, it's going to be at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to use the tried and trusted method of using one of these and just putting it underneath and just doing that as an uncoupler. As long as I don't have too many trains next to each other, that'll work. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next one. Likes, comments, shares, whatever, how far you're getting with your project. Kelly, I know you said you're suffering from sniffles. Hopefully that is better, and we can carry on. Otherwise, see you in the next one. Thank you very much, and goodbye.